Coming up on Famous.
I'm never concerned about going too far because I've never seen anybody do that. I've never seen anybody try and be brave and fall over, and I've never thought that wasn't brilliant. It was always amazing to me when I see people just be free.
Angelina Jolie's not afraid to speak her mind on screen or off. But a tough girl image is only a part of her. She's a Hollywood kid with an Oscar-winning dad who's always been determined to make it on her own.
He's a very generous actor to work with. She gives you a lot. She changes all the time.
She's a really great young actress and beautiful and fun to work with.
Finding Angelina Jolie was really a huge breakthrough for us because it really made the whole movie work.
Producer Douglas Wick hired Angelina for her Oscar-winning role in Girl Interrupted. And according to film historian Pete Hammond, that's just the sort of character who appeals to her fans.
Well, I think Angelina Jolie really relates to particularly young women of today. You know, she has tattoos, she's cool, she's dangerous. You know, you never know what she's going to do next. And I think that quality comes off in a lot of her roles, from Gia to Girl Interrupted to Lara Croft, where she's an action hero. And I think a lot of young women can particularly relate to this. And I think that's increased her popularity a lot.
Angelina grew up in the shadow of her famous father, Oscar-winning actor Jon Voight. Early in her career, she joined him at red carpet events.
My daughter, Angelina.
In 1997, they attended the Los Angeles Opera together.
I'm going to love this evening because I'm with my daughter, and we haven't seen an opera together ever. I only saw operas very recently when I was in Prague doing Mission Impossible. So it's a lot of fun, and theater is a lot of fun for both of us. What do you think, Ange?
I agree. Yeah, no, I've never seen one, so I'm looking forward to it.
She was born Angelina Jolie Voight in Los Angeles on the 4th of June 1975. She was just a year old when her parents separated. As a result, she became close to her brother.
I don't know if it's divorced families or what it is, but he and I were each other's everything, always, and we've been best friends, and he's just, maybe it's just my brother, he's been always my strongest support, and he's just given me so much love and taken care of me, and you know, it just makes life great. He's my friend.
At 11, Angelina attended the Lee Strasberg Theatre Institute in New York. Her first film roles were in her brother's student films at the University of Southern California. When her career started, Angelina dropped her last name. Her parents had given Angelina and her brother James Haven middle names they could use as last names in case they decided to become actors.
She may say it didn't help her career because she's not known as Angelina Voight. She chose her middle name as her last name, so she's Angelina Jolie. And that is done, you know, she says, so she's not trading off her father's name. But don't kid yourself, because the bottom line is he opened some doors for her.
Angelina's first big screen appearance was a bit part in the comedy Looking to Get Out. She was 6, and the film starred and was written by her father.
He certainly helped her out, even to the point of a picture that he made called Lookin to Get Out. She did a walk-on in that when she was a child, so she had experience on the set.
When she was old enough to drive, Angelina used money she earned modeling to buy a car to get to auditions. By 1993, she won a major role in this Meatloaf music video. Meanwhile, Jon Voight gave her added visibility. When Angelina turned 20, she landed a feature film, the computer drama Hackers.
And action.
It's rock and roll, and it's sexy, and it's young, and it shows the good side of hacking, fun social side, and lots of different types of young people, and it's quite bizarre just as a piece of art, I think, visually.
Hackers tapped into the growing fascination with the internet. The film's director, Ian Softley, was looking for a tough-looking young actress and was happy to cast the relatively unknown Angelina.
There's something exciting about introducing new characters to an audience. I think that's a very exciting thing to see somebody and get to know somebody for the first time on the screen.
While Hackers failed to make much money, critics liked Angelina and co-star joh-LEE Miller and their androgynous approach.
I think a lot of the men in the film are dressed androgynous, and I think that's the message in a way. There's a big section of the film that the message is not to judge, and that everybody is male, female, good, bad, I mean, you know, so she just falls into that category, I think.
Angelina and joh-LEE Miller were married shortly after the film. At the wedding, she wore a white shirt with her husband's name, written in her own blood. The marriage wouldn't last long. After a year and a half, they were headed for divorce. In the meantime, Angelina stayed busy on screen. In 1996 with the romantic comedy Love Is All There Is, the teenage drama Foxfire, and Mojave Moon co-starring Danny Aiello. None made it to the box office. Angelina also appeared in a Rolling Stones video. She was looking for a high-profile project to boost her career and hoped the independent film Playing God would do the trick. Timothy Hutton and David Duchovny were her co-stars.
Playing God is just fun and a bit crazy, and it's with Tim Hutton and David Duchovny, and it's just a bit sexy and a bit rock and roll, and Dad'll probably love it.
Angelina plays a gangster's girlfriend who becomes involved with his doctor.
We all have a very strong love of that part of us that can be thought of as evil and dark. And then there's a part of us that's very, you know, that stays at home and is okay and is nice and comfortable and loving. But there's a wicked side in everybody, and so I think they represent both extremes of her life, and she loves them in very different ways.
Playing God didn't turn out to be the success she'd hoped for, but her next project would surpass her wildest dreams. Angelina Jolie had only given hints of her potential when she took on the HBO made-for-cable movie Gia. The tragic true story of a heroin-addicted supermodel wasn't glamorous, but Angelina immersed herself in the role.
I generally, when I read a script and I'm scared to play the role, I know it's the right one. And I was scared to death of Gia because I thought it was going to just expose too much to myself about myself, and I didn't think I could do it, and I thought it was important to do right.
People looked at her as, wow, who is this? Not the daughter of Jon Voight, not the person that's done a few roles in minor movies and things, but wow, what a performance. And they knew then, I think, that she was going to be a major star, that she was the real thing.
Her portrayal of Gia earned a Golden Globe Award and an Emmy nomination.
It means that all the hard work we all put in and things that, you know, we did that we thought meant something, and they told me at first that, you know, people don't really watch those things and you shouldn't worry, but I love them and we all thought they were important, so we did them, and people watched, and it was great. So I'm here with my brother, and it's great. It's fun.
Angelina also appeared on the big screen in 1998. She was part of an impressive ensemble cast for Playing by Heart. Even alongside high-profile talent like Sean Connery and Gillian Anderson, she held her own.
We'll just meet there. It doesn't have to be a date.
Usually there are one or two very interesting characters, and the rest of them just are there to fill in their story. You know, in this you've got like 10 people with very full stories, so that's pretty amazing.
Angelina built on her success in 1999. Her first film that year was Pushing Tin, a comedy about a rivalry between two air traffic controllers. On the set, Angelina met Billy Bob Thornton.
I think she has even said that she's very emotional, and that's just the place that it's easy for her to fall in love. She's very vulnerable when she makes a movie, plays a character. And Billy Bob was just such an exotic creature to her, which, you know, she is herself. So I think he really appealed to her, and they just connected.
Pushing Tin also co-stars Oscar nominee Cate Blanchett and John Cusack. Angelina would describe this as one of the happiest sets she'd ever worked on.
Occasionally you get on those films that are just heaven, and everybody on this is just, you know, Cate Blanchett is just funny and brilliant and so nice to be around, and, you know, it's nice to have a girl and get along, and it's nice, and John Cusack is just, he's so wild, and yet he's so just sincere, and he's such a great person.
Next, Angelina teamed up with Denzel Washington for the Bone Collector.
It's always good to act opposite actors, you know, like him. And so I think that he brought a lot to the table for her and brought her game up in that picture too.
Washington plays a quadriplegic forensic expert who comes out of retirement to help a street cop, Angelina Jolie. The underlying love story was just one of the elements that drew Angelina to the project.
There were a lot of things. I mean, one, it was just one of the first scripts in a long time that I couldn't put down. When I read it, I was really into it. And I wanted to know what was going to happen next, and I thought that was, you know, I liked it. And I couldn't forget it. And it scared me to death in my apartment by myself when I read it.
The Bone Collector gave Angelina box office clout. Her next film would give her something even better. Girl Interrupted had been in development for 6 years, but when Winona Ryder signed on, it quickly went into production. With the starring role cast, the producers concentrated on finding an actress for the supporting role of Lisa.
Every actress wanted that role, you know, of a certain age, wanted that role that she had in that film. And I think they picked her because she has this dangerous quality. They knew it would work. And she just blew everybody off the screen, including Winona Ryder.
Finding Angelina Jolie was really a huge breakthrough for us because it really made the whole movie work.
Yeah, with all those girls I found, I just was connected to somebody, and I needed that so much.
Angelina and Winona Ryder play young women in a private mental hospital.
I'd read the book 5 years before, and I underlined everything that had to do with my character, and I loved Lisa. There was something in what she needed to say and what she was missing that I needed.
Angelina's performance earned her an Oscar for Best Supporting Actress.
My dad came in and just said he was proud of me, and he thought I was a good actress. And to hear that from your father, I know it's, you know, it's just, for him to think I'm a good actress is kind of a big deal to me. So that was all I needed, and he loved me, and that's all that mattered.
Angelina's dad, Jon Voight, had won an Oscar for Coming Home when she was 2.
I've never actually held an Oscar before. It's quite amazing. No, my dad's mother had his in a goldfish bowl or something on the mantelpiece in New York, and it was like way up in something, and I've never held it. You know, you grow up with it, you just kind of figure it's the strange thing in Grandma's house.
Angelina's next movie choice was a surprise. The car theft adventure, Gone in 60 Seconds, produced by action guru Jerry Bruckheimer.
There's something very clean about his films. They're not offensive. They're the good guys against the bad guys, and the team coming together, you know, and love and brothers and all that. So they're really nice messages in his films.
The script for Gone in 60 Seconds found its way to Angelina while she was working on Girl Interrupted.
I read it while I was in the mental institution, and the first page was a list of 60 cars and 60 women's names. And I was curious, and I liked what everything stood for and everybody stood for, and I just thought it was going to be fun, and I wanted to learn how to steal a car and drive a Ferrari.
Angelina married Billy Bob Thornton just a month before Gone in 60 Seconds opened. They were inseparable.
I'm just madly in love and so happy, and finally, you know, I found home, and it's him.
Gone in 60 Seconds was her first film to top the $100 million mark at the box office, but it wouldn't be her last.
I make a point of putting all awards, giving all of them away, so I don't have them in my house. So I never see them, and I never think that's what it's about. So my brother has some, my mom has them, I never see them, I never think about them.
Awards may not be a high priority for Angelina Jolie, but by the year 2000 she had something better, box office clout. She'd have even more after signing on to play Lara Croft.
They convinced me that it was not going to be silly and campy. That really wasn't the point, but the point is she's a warrior, and she's very much a woman, but that it was going to be really hard, and it was going to be a challenge. So they kind of challenged me, and I don't back down from that easy.
If I fall, aren't we both going over?
The challenges of Lara Croft Tomb Raider came in many forms. To measure up to the video game, Angelina had to increase her ample 36C to a 40 double D. she also had to be in top shape for the stunt work.
They did put me on such a disciplined schedule, and we did have so many great teachers when it came from kickboxing and boxing to canoeing up and down the Thames River to practice for Cambodia to all the weapons training and obstacle courses and climbing ropes and things we had to do. And that puts you in a certain mindset that gives you very much her personality, because you get desperate and focused, and then you also get proud and strong and competitive.
Lara Croft, Tomb Raider, though, really showed that she could carry a film, and a big, expensive action film, and do something that most actresses in her age range haven't been able to do. And it turned into over $100 million domestically and worldwide. So she proved her mettle as a box office star, and that's what Hollywood's about. It's about the numbers, and she proved that she could do that.
On its release, Tomb Raider became the highest-grossing action movie with a woman in the lead role. The production used locations around the world, including Cambodia, where Angelina was disturbed by the disparity between the rich and the poor. She became a goodwill ambassador for the United Nations.
I think she's got other things she's interested in right now, too, that may really dictate where she decides to go with her film career. And I'm talking about her humanitarian causes. The fact that she's out there traveling the world and really becoming a humanitarian goodwill ambassador, much like Audrey Hepburn did later in her career.
Although the UN keep her busy, she still found time to work with an old friend, her GIA director, Michael Christopher, on Original Sin, co-starring Antonio Banderas.
I think I've lived through maybe 10 or so years ago things that she's living through now, and so we seem to be interested in the same problems or the same issues, same themes to want to deal with, and we discovered that on GIA, and so we wanted to do something together again. And as soon as I finished this script and saw how complicated and dangerous this character was, I sent it to her right away.
And action, and room, and a beautiful and standing bride.
Angelina plays a seductive con artist and shares a steamy love scene with Antonio.
We've all been so kind of have to answer so many ridiculous questions about the love scene we have that we've all been kind of, but it was great. He was, but I mean, so it's we haven't had a chance to really talk about actually working together. So it was great. He's a really nice person, and it's nice that he has the people that like him so much.
Despite the two top stars, audiences were not seduced by Original Sin, and her next film, Life or Something Like It, cast her completely against type.
Is it finally Denver's year? Or are the Hawks going to open up a big old can of butt whooping? I'm playing a very silly girl. I've got long nails and big hair.
I don't think people could accept her in that role. And also they weren't sure. They'd not seen her in a light romantic comedy, and, she has a much tougher image. So, no fault of her own. She was fine in the film, but I think the audience had a hard time accepting her. And it may have been a bad decision to color her hair that way, because I think it might have been too early. They just couldn't buy it.
Angelina plays a TV reporter who's reassessing her life after someone predicts she's about to die. At the time, she was rethinking her own priorities after adopting a baby boy, Maddox.
I said, don't send me anything, because I just want to be with my family, and I don't want to be so focused on career and work, and I want to focus on what's important. And unless a great project comes along right now, I don't want to. And then a few weeks later, I got a call, and they said, there's a script out there that's exactly about all the reasons you don't want to work and focus on family, and it addresses all the things you're feeling right now, which is that this idea of being famous or successful, or all these things you give up, and you keep working and working and working, and you forget just to enjoy real life.
Angelina admits there is an upside to her particular line of work. The sequel, Lara Croft, Tomb Raider, The Cradle of Life, was more than just a contractual obligation.
Do you ever do anything the easy way?
And risk disappointing you? I do love the adventure of it, and I love her. I wish, it's great to be able to be her for a few months. 9 months out of a year, I get to take an adventure, and I really do take the adventure and travel. And we were on where else do you get to go on the top of a live volcano?
But during the making of Cradle of Life, her personal life was turned upside down. She suffered a very public divorce from Billy Bob Thornton after 2 years of marriage, and a bitter estrangement from her father, Jon Voight. This may have played into her decision to star in Beyond Borders, the story of a woman who risks everything to join the man she loves on his humanitarian adventures.
This child, his mother's in the truck, she's wounded.
I just read it to the end and found myself crying on the, by myself in a hotel room and thinking just how beautiful the story of her relationship with her children, and was just shocked by what was in the script, and couldn't really understand how that was how that had happened.
Parts of Beyond Borders were filmed on location in Kenya. Taking lives kept Angelina closer to home. She plays an FBI profiler helping the Canadian police track down a serial killer.
Pattern of marks on Marin's neck show that the killer is left-handed. He's sketching with his right hand. He lit a cigarette with his right hand.
I kind of read about profilers and people that do that, and there's something very sensual about them, and there's something very interesting to play as a woman, somebody who watches your hands and your feet and why you do different things, and she's very she's an observer, and kind of there's something odd about her that I like.
Despite her desire to settle down, Angelina keeps busy with projects like Shark Tale and the retro-futuristic Sky Captain and the World of Tomorrow. But she takes solace in the fact that the man in her life will be waiting to greet her at the end of the day, her son Maddox.
After tonight, I'm going to come home and he's going to be in his little pajamas and come running at me and hug me, and then I'm going to feel special.
You've been watching Angelina Jolie on Famous. Join us for more movie celebrities next time.